Straight drop, goes to the fade to the other side. Bradford, touchdown, USC!
In 2007, the number 2 team in the country lost 5 times in 7 weeks. The biggest upset in college football history happened on opening weekend.
Mountaineers are gonna try to take it to the big house.
And it wasn't even the most important game of the season. National championship hopes ended on random Thursday nights, rivalry games, and non-contact injuries. And somehow, when it was over, the champion had 2 losses. Taken together, 2007 is the most unstable college football season we've ever seen.
Going all the way to the end zone, the speedster Dexter. Good hold. And the kick is blocked. Appalachian State.
And it started week 1. The Big House, 109,000 people. Michigan ranked number 5, App State, an FCS team. At halftime, the scoreboard made no sense. App State led 28-17. Michigan responded in the second half. Field goal. Then Mike Hart broke free. 54 yards. Michigan led 32-31 with 4 minutes and 36 seconds left.
Hart to the 10, to the 5, touchdown!
App State got the ball back with 1 minute 37 seconds remaining. No timeouts. Own 27.
State looks like the team they look like in the first half. Edwards tucks and runs.
Armonte Edwards ran for a first down. Then he hit Coco Hillary down the sideline, all the way to the Michigan 5.
Hillary all the way to the 5-yard line.
Field goal. App State 34, Michigan 32. 26 seconds left. Chad Henne launched it deep to Mario Manningham. He caught it.
Sideline looking for Manningham.
Michigan was in range. 1 kick to escape.
The Mountaineers are gonna try to take it to the big house. 20, 15.
Interestingly, this was the second kick that App State got their hands on that day. Sports Illustrated called it the all-time upset. ESPN analyst Lou Holtz cursed on live television trying to explain what he'd just witnessed.
Boy, the locker room's completely different. Everybody moaning, pointing fingers, complaining about this. Second stringer saying I should play, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, you have no idea how many problems happen in the locker room when you lose.
Michigan dropped from number 5 in the country to completely unranked, the largest single-week drop in AP poll history. A 71-year record shattered in one afternoon. In any other season, this would have been the story of the year. In 2007, it was just the beginning. Michigan wasn't the story. They were just the first victim.
All the cover, the defense is checking it off from the sideline.
At the 9-yard line, pump fake, Statue of Liberty, Stewart, and now it's Dixon. He had me.
1 week later, Michigan traveled to Oregon. Oregon won 39-7. It was a blowout mostly remembered for this Statue of Liberty play, and then later the fake Statue of Liberty play. Across weeks 2, 3, and 4, ranked teams continued to fall.
Play action fake, he drops the throw. And he does throw, and there's a man down there, and that's a touchdown!
Deep down the near sideline. He's got Johnson. 20, 10, 5, touchdown!
Mike Hart, second effort, stretching out. Touchdown.
Steve Spurrier's South Carolina team upset number 11 Georgia. Kentucky beat a 9th-ranked Louisville team. Michigan steadied itself by upsetting number 10 Penn State. Up to this point, the season still made sense. Then came week 5.
Does it stay true? Yes! Wow! Colorado is shocked Oklahoma.
He made the winning field goal twice.
8 top 25 teams lost in a single Saturday. 4 top 10 teams, 3 top 5 teams. All gone. This wasn't normal anymore. Among the carnage was a Cinderella story no one saw coming. South Florida. The University of South Florida's football program didn't exist before 1997. They started in Division I AA, moved up to Division I-A in 2000, and spent the next 7 years being respectable but never nationally relevant. They'd never been ranked. Not once. Then 2007 happened.
Throw over the middle, too high, picked off. USF has it. They have beaten number 7 West Virginia.
USF started hot. They beat number 17 Auburn, a legitimate SEC program, in week 3. People noticed but assumed it was a fluke.
Goes the other way. Got it, touchdown, South Florida.
Then they kept winning. In week 4, they appeared in the AP poll for the first time in school history. 1 week later, they jumped to number 18. And in week 5, they faced their biggest test yet, number 5 West Virginia at home.
But a win tonight would be the biggest ever for South Florida. We'll have the opening kickoff from Tampa in a moment.
West Virginia had Pat White and Steve Slayton. They were Big East powerhouses, a team that looked destined for a BCS bowl game. This was supposed to be the reality check for South Florida. Instead, South Florida won, 21-13. It was the biggest win in program history.
The biggest game in South Florida history ends with the biggest win in the history of this 11-year-old Bulls football program.
USF was undefeated after 5 games, ranked, legitimate, and suddenly, impossibly, a factor in the national championship race. At this point, people were thinking, what a chaotic week. They didn't know it was about to happen again.
The number 1 USC Trojans take on the last team to beat them at home, the Stanford Cardinal.
Number 1 USC and Stanford are next on Versus.
USC sat at number 2 in the country. They'd been dethroned from the top spot by LSU, but most assumed it was temporary.
Can USC, though, make it 36 consecutive home wins? They take on the Stanford Cardinal live on Versus straight ahead.
USC was still USC, the most talented team in the country. Stanford traveled to Los Angeles, where USC was riding a 35-game home winning streak. Stanford had gone 1-11 the previous season. They entered this game 1-3. The year before, USC had beaten them 42-0. This time, Stanford's starting quarterback, T.C. Ostrander, had suffered a seizure the week before and couldn't play. His replacement was Tavita Pritchard, who had thrown just 3 career passes. USC was favored by 41 points. That's not a typo, 41. More than Michigan had been favored against App State. Stanford won, 24-23.
Mighty Trojans of USC have fallen.
Spectacular personalities in college football and best players. Tebow kind of does it all for Florida.
That same day, LSU and Florida played one of the best games of the season. Florida led early. LSU clawed back with trick plays, including a fake field goal and fourth quarter execution.
Through. Touchdown.
Final score, LSU 28, Florida 24. LSU remained number 1. The number 2 team had fallen.
Great fake. Flynn goes deep. Brandon LaFell on the way.
That afternoon, LSU lost at Kentucky in triple overtime. The Tigers led by 13 points late in the third quarter. In overtime, LSU ran the ball 4 straight times and couldn't score. Kentucky hadn't beaten a number 1 team since 1964.
Kentucky wins.
California entered Week 7 ranked number 2, their highest ranking since 1951. They had Deshaun Jackson, they had Justin Forsett. They'd just beaten Oregon in a wild finish. Now they were home against Oregon State. 10 minutes before kickoff, Cal's starting quarterback Nate Longshore was ruled out with an ankle injury. Kevin Riley would start. During the game, word spread through Memorial Stadium that LSU had lost. The crowd began chanting, "We're number 1." Late in the fourth quarter, Oregon State took a 31-28 lead. Cal got the ball back at its own 6-yard line with 1 minute and 27 seconds remaining. No timeouts. Riley drove them to the Oregon State 12. 14 seconds left. Instead of spiking the ball to force overtime, Riley scrambled.
Riley gonna run it. That's a not a good play. Will they have enough time? California.
The clock expired. Oregon State won. Cal fell to 5-1 and would spiral to 6-6.
From 32 for a 6-point lead. It's a fake. And it's caught for a touchdown.
By late October, the polls looked completely unrecognizable. Hawaii was ranked higher than they'd ever been in program history. Kansas, historically one of the worst programs in college football, sat at 6-0 and climbing. Arizona State had their best start in a decade. Kentucky, after upsetting LSU, appeared in the top 10 for the first time since 1984. Boston College, led by Matt Ryan, reached their highest ranking since before World War II. And South Florida, the team that had never been ranked before 2007, they rose all the way to number 2. Think about that journey. A program that didn't exist 10 years ago. Now they were one spot away from #1, with a legitimate path to the national championship game. Their remaining schedule looked manageable. The toughest game appeared to be Rutgers on October 18th. The Cinderella story was over.
Rutgers does it again. Last year, Louisville.
And the curse continued. 3 straight weeks. 3 different #2 teams. All lost. This wasn't a joke anymore. This was a pattern. The #2 ranking had become a death sentence. Two teams undefeated in ACC play, national championship implications, prime time, and it's pouring rain. BC came in ranked #2 in the country. The curse was real now. Everyone knew it. Matt Ryan knew it. Virginia Tech jumped ahead 10-0.
Possession of the football. Didn't look like it. Now it was ruled a touchdown, so the evidence has to be enough to overturn the call.
Their defense suffocated BC. The rain made it impossible to throw. The Hokies controlled the line of scrimmage.
Wants to go downfield. Looking deep for Royal. Jump ball.
With 5 minutes left, it looked over. Then Matt Ryan found a rhythm. He drove BC down the field.
Ryan, pump fake. Steps up. And a run.
Threading passes through the rain, through the defense, through everything Virginia Tech threw at him.
Will fire.
Oh, my goodness.
Open for a touchdown is Calendar.
For Virginia Tech, it was devastating. Their only loss that season was to LSU and Baton Rouge in the second week of the season. They'd been in control. They'd had BC on the ropes until one play changed everything.
Great vision and get that ball to the end zone.
BC had survived. They'd beaten the curse, the first #2 team in a month to win. Or did they?
Intercepted. That could do it. Touchdown, Florida State. Geno Hayes.
2 weeks after Boston College's Thursday night win, Oregon found itself in a similar position.
Welcome back to Tucson, the home stretch for Oregon. Trying to battle their way to New Orleans to the BCS championship game. They got this game, UCLA, and then the Civil War against Oregon State.
Oregon was ranked #2. They had Dennis Dixon, a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate. At this point in the season, Dixon was the Heisman frontrunner. He was electric, a dual-threat quarterback who could beat you with his arm or his legs. Many believed if Dixon stayed healthy, Oregon would win out and play for the national championship. Against Arizona in the first quarter, Dixon scored on a 39-yard touchdown run.
For the end zone.
Oregon looked dominant. Then, a few plays later, Dixon dropped back to pass. He planted his foot. His left knee buckled, non-contact injury.
Perhaps a miscommunication, and now Dixon holding his knee. There was no contact.
He crumpled to the turf. ACL tear, season over. Oregon's backup, Brady Leaf, replaced him. Without Dixon, Oregon couldn't function. They lost that game 34-24. They'd lose again the next 2 weeks. 5 #2 teams in 7 weeks had fallen. The curse had claimed another victim, this time through injury instead of upset. If Dennis Dixon doesn't get hurt, there's a real chance he wins the Heisman Trophy. There's a real chance Oregon plays for the national championship. Instead, his season ended in one gruesome moment, and Oregon's championship hopes died with it. Dixon would finish 5th in Heisman voting despite missing the final 3 games. That's how dominant he was before the injury. Just a few days before Dixon's injury,
Oh boy, you don't want a long count here. 1st and goal, and he fumbled it. Found control to the end zone. Touchdown, Illinois.
Ohio State sat at #1 in the country, undefeated. They were heavy favorites against unranked Illinois. This was supposed to be a formality. Win this game, beat Michigan the following week, and Ohio State would play for back-to-back national championships. Illinois quarterback Juice Williams had other plans. Williams threw 4 touchdown passes.
Touchdown, Illinois. To the corner, touchdown. Down the middle. Williams down the middle, wide open man. Touchdown, Illinois.
The Illinois defense held Ohio State to 21 points. It was the first time Illinois had beaten a #1 team on the road, ever. The first time they'd beaten any #1 team since 1956. Ohio State's title hopes seemed dead. They'd lost at home to an unranked team. In any normal season, that would eliminate them from the conversation entirely. But 2007 wasn't normal. Everyone kept losing. The chaos was so widespread, so relentless, that Ohio State would climb back to number 1 simply because there was no one else left standing.
The border showdown is about to erupt. This ancient blood feud, Kansas and Missouri. The stakes are enormous.
By Thanksgiving weekend, only 2 teams controlled their destiny, Kansas and Missouri. Kansas had never been ranked this high in school history. Missouri hadn't been this high since 1960. Their rivalry dated back to 1891, before automobiles, before airplanes, before modern America. The setup was perfect. If either team won their final 2 games, they'd play for the national championship, and they were playing each other first. The winner becomes the number 1 team in the nation. Kansas came in ranked number 2. The curse was waiting. Missouri dominated. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They moved the ball at will. Kansas couldn't keep up.
Get the daylight. Touchdown.
Kansas fell to 11-1. The curse had struck again, but Missouri wasn't safe either.
Wanted to throw it again.
Missouri faced Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game in San Antonio. Win, and they're in the national championship game. Lose, and chaos reigns. Oklahoma wasn't interested in the script. They jumped on Missouri early and never let up.
Touchdown.
Oklahoma wins, and it wasn't competitive. That same day, on the other side of the country, West Virginia prepared for their biggest game in program history.
For the 100th edition of a bitter rivalry known as the Backyard Brawl.
West Virginia came into the Backyard Brawl with everything on the line. They were 10-1. Win this game and West Virginia plays for the national championship. They were 28.5-point favorites. Pitt was 4-7. But this was a rivalry game. The game was tight, physical, low scoring.
2nd and goal. White fakes to Slayton, keeps it himself straight up the middle.
If he can push with it and grab a ball, they'll let him play. But right now, he can do none of those things.
Quarterback keeper, Boston. Touchdown.
Late in the 4th quarter, Pitt led 13-7. West Virginia still had the ball with just over 2 minutes remaining, deep inside Pitt territory. The season was still there. The drive stalled.
Lost the ball, knocked down and tackled. This will be 4th costly of the night. Mountaineers have to reach the 11 for a first down. White throws it up.
West Virginia's championship hopes ended at home in their final regular season game against their biggest rival. Oh, and how about this? West Virginia missed 2 field goals that night. Remember the kicker?
20.
My gosh, he missed another one.
In the previous 10 years, the number 1 and number 2 teams had lost on the same weekend just 4 times total. In 2007, it happened 3 times in 8 weeks.
Timeout, stakes a snap in the shotgun just in time. Ryan has it batted in the air and it's intercepted. Flags are down. Virginia Tech, the DB's got it and he's heading to the end zone.
Earlier that day, Virginia Tech faced Boston College in a rematch of that Thursday night thriller from October. This time, Virginia Tech was ready. They destroyed BC 30-16. It wasn't close. The Hokies dominated from start to finish. Their defense suffocated Matt Ryan. Their offense controlled the clock. And here's the tragedy. If Virginia Tech wins that Thursday night game in October, if Matt Ryan doesn't complete that last-second throw, Virginia Tech never loses again heading into the ACC championship. They still beat Boston College. They still win the ACC. Their only loss all season would have been to LSU in week 2. Instead, that one play changed everything. Virginia Tech finished 11-2. The national championship was gone, lost on a last-second throw in the rain. They went on to the Orange Bowl and lost to Kansas. When the smoke cleared and the carnage ended, 2 teams remained, LSU and Ohio State. LSU had 2 losses, both in triple overtime, but no 2-loss team had ever played for a BCS national championship. The system wasn't designed for it. The computers couldn't comprehend it. And yet, who else was there? LSU had also beaten Florida in that thriller, where they ran every trick play in the book. They'd beaten 6 ranked teams, including Virginia Tech, South Carolina, Florida, Auburn, Alabama, and Tennessee. They'd played the toughest schedule in the country and survived it. This was the season where Les Miles became the Mad Hatter. Ohio State had 1 loss, to Illinois at home. They'd won the Big Ten. They were comparatively unscarred simply because they'd played in a weaker conference.
LSU quickly to the line of scrimmage, and a touchdown to Richard Dixon.
LSU 38, Ohio State 24. LSU dominated from start to finish.
Glorious kick. And Ricky G and Francois, number 90, barrels through.
Their defense harassed Ohio State quarterback Todd Buckman all night. Their offense, led by Matt Flynn, executed perfectly.
Only rushing 4 against 5 blockers.
Flynn.
LSU became the first two-loss national champion since 1960. The BCS era had never seen anything like it. Ohio State, meanwhile, became a punchline. They'd lost 2 straight national championship games, both blowouts. The Big Ten was exposed as overrated. Jim Tressel's conservative approach looked outdated. And college football had just survived the most unpredictable, most chaotic, most unprecedented season in its history.
Will be followed by the words, Heisman Trophy winner. Without further ado, the winner of this year's Heisman Trophy is Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow won the Heisman Trophy as a sophomore, the first to ever do it. He'd been Florida's secret weapon all season, a battering ram disguised as a quarterback. Hawaii finished undefeated in the regular season behind Colt Brennan, who broke the NCAA career touchdown record with 131. They made a BCS bowl and got destroyed by Georgia 41-10, but for one season, Hawaii was nationally relevant. Illinois reached the Rose Bowl after upsetting Ohio State. They lost to USC 49-17, but it was still the program's best season in years. Kansas finished 12-1 with their best season in program history, then immediately returned to irrelevance. West Virginia crushed Oklahoma 48-28 in the Fiesta Bowl, a bitter consolation prize for what could have been. Pat White was brilliant. The offense was unstoppable. It only made the Pitt loss hurt more. But the story of 2007 isn't the champions or the awards or the individual performances.
Rolls, dumps it off to early Doucette, and he's still on his feet.
It's the chaos, the week-by-week collapse of logic, the systematic destruction of favorites, the curse of the number 2 ranking that consumed team after team after team, the unprecedented nature of what happened, things that hadn't occurred in 71 years of AP poll history happening every single week. The sport will never be the same. The playoff exists now. A single loss doesn't end your season. The stakes are different. Chaos can't compound the way it did in 2007, when one loss could destroy a championship dream and the chaos could feed on itself week after week after week. 2007 was the last time college football could lose its mind like this. And if you were there, you'll never forget it. What's your favorite moment from 2007? Drop it in the comments below.